All right, so we're going to look at the teacher view. We're going to look at some due date stuff. So due dates are useful in terms of having reminders to students and making sure that people are on track to do things at a certain rate. The downside of due dates are every year when you do it, you're going to have to change all of your dates for every assignment. And it also kind of takes out the asynchronous value of online learning. So it's not that you want a course that's completely self-paced. I mean, you could have that, but I don't think the desire is to have that. You want the blended environment, but putting due dates on things can kind of stifle or kind of change how people view uh, online learning. Now, another thing that's a positive for due dates is it's typically going to keep people on task more. So one of the downsides to blended learning that I've found is that you provide all these resources to students and then they still wait till the night before the test to do their homework and to study and to do everything all at once. And if you have due dates on things, you can kind of get around that, at least to the point of, depending on what happens after the due date has passed. So let's go ahead and head into some modules here. I haven't put due dates on anything. So let's say, what is gravity? This has a due date, and this is just a page, so you don't have to put due dates on pages. But let's go back here on the discussion that comes next. So here's the discussion. I'm sorry. So in the discussion, I can have a due date on this discussion. So if I want to edit this, so here you're going to put a due date. So let's say this discussion is due on the 7th at midnight, and it's available until we'll give you till the 8th. So you've got a 24-hour window. And for here, you might put, right now. Now we'll go back and we'll find another item. So this has a due date. Let's make this a due date of the day before. So here we'll edit this. We'll give this a due date of Thursday at midnight, and it will be available until Friday from today. Then we'll give a due date to one more thing here, just so you can kind of see how it all works. Give a due date on the quiz. So here we'll scroll down to the bottom, and we'll say that this is due the 10th. It'll be available until the 11th. And for this one, let's say it's not available until maybe the weekend. Okay. So now when we go home, you're going to see that there are dates, and those dates show you what assignment is due on what day. This also is how you can put assignments in order. So this is your course summary is going to order things by when they're due. Over here, if you highlight the 6th, then the course summary is going to highlight what is due that day. Now again, you set this up ahead of time, works dandy. If somebody's gone, you can provide them an individual override, but do you want them not to engage in a discussion because they're gone? Well, that's where you might have to kind of have a larger window where something's open. So one way around that is to say all of Unit 1 stuff is going to be open until the end of the month, and the end of the month is when we have our test. But I'm going to put due dates on everything. Now, when next year comes around, you're going to have to change all the due dates on stuff. It's not a game changer by any means. It's just redundant work. And if you're planning on using due dates, diligently, that's going to be what your work turns into, is changing due dates. Whereas if you don't use those due dates, the work itself, you're not going to have to redo that work every year. But also, there's going to be tools like this that aren't as useful because you're not putting things on the calendar for when they're due. Now, something that you could do is you could go. Let's go into modules. So you could go in here and you could. That's not where you do that. You can lock until. So if you want, you wouldn't do it with Unit 1, but like Unit 2, if you want to lock Unit 2, so you could say, hey, you can't do Unit 2 until the first of the next month. Okay, so now they're not going to see Unit 2. I mean, they'll see it, but they won't be able to get into it at all. So that's another way where you can kind of control it without having so much of this small, tedious work, where you can, you can just change the date that something's locked, and then next year you just change the date that it is locked until as well. So that's how you use due dates. That's how you set up assignments with due dates, and that's where you can see on a calendar. That's where you can see dates where things are due.